Hello, grade 9s. This will be our last lesson for this week, and actually the last new lesson of the unit. There's another one I was going to do, but I've decided to skip it. And on Monday you will have some review, and on Tuesday or Wednesday I will post the test, and you'll have the rest of the week to do that. So today's topic is linear systems. In grade 10 you'll do an entire unit on just this, but for now, it's just going to be a one-day thing. And it's basically, if you can graph lines, you can already do this. So I always say the linear systems are your answer, or my answer to the question, when would we ever use this in real life? Students are always asking me, when would I ever use this? You know, like, I'm never going to use any of this math for real. So let's say we had two cell phone plans. One of them is 10 cents per minute, plus they charge 10 bucks just per month for the long distance plan. So you pay 10 bucks and then you get your calls for 10 cents a minute. Or you don't pay anything up front and each minute costs 40 cents. So if we look at this, we can think about a few things. So first of all, how much does the first plan cost if you never use it at all? Well, if you never use it, it's going to cost 10 bucks. And the second plan, which isn't really a plan, if you don't use it, it costs you nothing. So if you're never going to use long distance, you should use the first plan. So let's go to Desmos. I'm just going to graph these. And then again, like let's say we talk for like 1,000,000 minutes. Well, if we talk for 1,000,000 minutes, this $10 is not going to be very significant anymore. And so this plan becomes cheaper because each minute costs less. So 1,000,000 minutes at 40 cents, well, that's going to be like $100,000 or $400,000. So let's plot them. We've got C equals 0.10 m plus 10. Okay, so let me just squish this. And then we've got C equals 0.40 m. And you kind of saw this the other day. So plan 2 is blue. So obviously for 0 minutes down here, plan 2 is going to be cheaper. But if we're way up here, if we're at like 50 minutes, then plan 1 is cheaper. And you can see the red line is now below the blue line. So past this point, you're better off with the red plan. And what today is all about is finding this point. So finding where the two lines meet. So in this case, if you talk for 33.3 minutes, both plans cost $13.33. As soon as you go past that, you're better off with plan 1. But if you talk less than 33, you're better off with plan 2. And this is actually a problem that I solved when I got my first cell phone many years ago. I was given these two options, and I went with the blue plan, 40 cents a minute, because I didn't really use long distance that much. Back then there was this thing called My10, where I could call 10 people for free, and I didn't really call many more than 10 people long distance. So I went with the blue plan, but I first did this. I solved the system, is what we call it, and I figured out that the blue plan was better for me. Okay, let's go back to the lesson. So I got an example, and then I got a homework question, and that's it. So it's going to be a quick one today. Ty and Richard are having a 1,000-meter race. Ty gives Richard a head start and runs at an average speed of 4.5. Richard runs at 3.9. So obviously Ty's running faster, so if they started at the same time, Ty would get out ahead and he would win the race. But Ty gave Richard a head start. So we can see it on the graph here. And this is on your handout, of course. Okay. So you can see here Richard is in gray and he starts out a little bit ahead. And their speeds are pretty close, right? 4.5 and 3.9. Those are pretty close. And it's a 1,000-meter race. Okay. So first, how many meters head start did Ty give Richard? So I'd like you to look at the graph, and what you're going to need to look at specifically is when time equals 0. So you're going to look right there, and you're going to see how far ahead was Richard at time 0. Well, you can see here, if I switch back to a normal pen, which I can't for some reason, at the beginning, this is where, at the beginning of time, Richard was here. So that's about 50. So he gave him a 50-meter head start. Where do the lines intersect? The lines intersect about here. So about, and we always put our x value first. So that looks like 1.5. And then our y value, we come over, and we get 400. And what does this represent? I want you to think about that. Maybe pause it and think about it. What does that point of intersection represent? So this is when Ty catches up to Richard. All right, so this is where they meet. So imagine they're running on like a straight road or something. Ty starts behind, 50 meters behind, and eventually Ty catches up to Richard. And then Ty is actually then ahead of Richard, and Richard starts to fall behind. All right, so who wins the race? I would like you to look at the graph, and I would like you to figure that out. And remember, it's a 1,000-meter race. So please pause and try that. All right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to draw a line over from 1,000, and then I'm going to see which person do I hit first. Boom. That's Ty's line. So Ty won. Ty won. I know because he reached 1,000 meters first. Okay, and then the last thing I would like you to do is to write a question you could answer using the graph. So that could be like, how many meters away was, how many meters ahead was Ty from Richard after 2 minutes, or after 30 seconds, or after 4 minutes, or whatever. You could say, how far from the finish line was Richard when Ty crossed? You could say, what's an equation for each? Okay, so there's all sorts of different questions you could ask here, so I'm going to leave that one for you. And finally, and this is it, quickest day ever, I have got some homework for you. So, a law office plans to do some landscaping around their building. They have two estimates. Company A is $240 for the plan and $30 per hour, so that's my rate of change. Company B is $60 per hour, so that's my rate of change. And that includes the plan, so that means there's no initial cost. Okay, so I'm going to label the axis here for you. So number of hours. And then up the side, we will do cost. It might be useful to do equations. So C equals 30N plus 240. And C equals 60N. Now, the hard part about this is figuring out, before you graph, around where the lines meet. So we can see that for the first plan, it starts at 240 and this one starts at 0. So they don't meet there. And right now, the second plan is cheaper. So let's put in 10 hours. So 30 times 10 plus 240. So for 10 hours, this one's 540, and this one, 60 times 10, is 600. Oh, well, there you go. This one was cheaper, now it's more expensive. So if we go up to 10 hours along the bottom, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If we go up to 10 hours, we know that we're going to find where they meet. And we got 600 here, so let's go up to 600. So 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Oh, that's not good enough. So let's go 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. No, let's do better than that. So maybe let's go 60, 120, 180, 240, 300, 360, 420, 480, 540, 600. So what I did here is I went up by 60s because this rate of change is 60. That's nice, going up by 60s. This rate of change is 30, which is half of 60, so that'll still be nice. That'll be these lines. And this initial value is 240, and look, it came up. And when we plugged in 10, we got 600, so that should work too. So let's do the first one in red. So 30n plus 240, so it starts at 240. Now I would really like you to pause and try this, because this was supposed to be your homework, but I didn't want you to get too lost with the axes and stuff, so I've started to do it with you already. So this means that you won't have any homework. So maybe stop the video, take some time and do this, and then come back. Okay, and then it goes up by 30 each time. So that means I go over 1 and up 30. Now remember, if this from here to here is 60, then I go half that to go up by 30. And then I do it again, and again, and again, and again. And I'm just going to keep doing it until I fill the space. And you'll remember when I went to 10, I think I was at 540. So now I'm at 10 and I'm at 540. So that worked. That tells me that what I did was correct. And I draw on the line here. And I make it red. And then the other line we will make blue, as I often do. So C equals 60n. So this one starts at 0, and then it goes up by 60 each time. And so you can see right now the blue plan, was this a plan? The blue company, the blue people that you might hire are cheaper right now. Oh, and all of a sudden they're not. All of a sudden the red one becomes cheaper. And again, I'm going to go through all of this homework with you right now. So please, 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 try it on your own first. Okay. So let's do the questions. At what point on the graph is the cost the same? Well, that's going to be right here, where the lines meet. So that's 8, 480. So 8 hours costs 480 with both companies. Okay, now if the job took 6 hours, which company would you choose? Well, let's check it out. So 6 hours is here, and I go up, and the first line I hit will be the lower cost. It's the blue one, so company B. Company blue. What if it took 12 hours? Well, 12 hours would be way over here. And just imagine, if you go up, extend those lines, which line do you hit first? You hit the red line, which is company A. And now we'll complete the blanks. Again, I'm really hoping that you've paused this and tried it already. So I would choose company A if the job takes, so let's see, company A is cheaper after 8 hours, more than 8 hours. And I would choose company B if the job takes less than 8 hours. And that's it, folks. I will give you some more practice in the review of this, but there's really going to be one question on this. It's not a big part of the unit. It's more of an intro so that you've seen it when it comes up again next year. Okay, that is it, I think. Let me double check, but I think that's everything. Yes, that is everything. Okay, folks, have a great weekend. I may post a little couple of questions for you to do at some point. I may not. We'll see. And please do reach out if you need help. Remember, help session Thursday at 11 a.m., which is tomorrow for you, because I think you're watching this on Wednesday. And yeah, otherwise, if you haven't handed in the unit test 4 that's up there, you really got to do that. Okay? Talk soon.